Aloha everybody, how are you doing today? It's Marissa Indigo. So today we're going to talk about the subject of a grid worker. As different concepts become more familiarized into mainstream consciousness levels, we're going to have a lot of questions about, well, what are these various things? What do they mean? So there's no easy answer. One of the things I always want to share is that, when we have a question about what is something, we're trying to define something, there's never one answer. This is multidimensional consciousness, so there's always hundreds or thousands of potential answers to any one question. Some people can find this, a little intimidating or overwhelming, but it is the truth of things because the potentials and possibilities and probabilities are infinite. They're kind of beyond our conception. So whenever I want to cover any topic, I always just want to begin with it's kind of interpretational. Any subject is kind of up to what resonates with you. So there's never an easy answer. So for me personally, a grid worker, this is a title, if you will, that recently came into my consciousness, maybe like the last 10 years, but it was something that I was inherently doing since a small child, just naturally. So a lot of the times also you'll find we're drawn or love to do certain things naturally. And then maybe, years down the line, we learn a name for it. But that's one of the challenges, as our consciousness shifts from a more of a linear or compartmentalized means of definition, to categorize our experiences to one of more multidimensional, right brain, kind of spatial observation of our experiences. So, anyways, just to share that. Because that can be applied to all aspects of our life right now. We're going from compartmentalizing ideas and notions, and they're kind of limited in that way, to a more broad or expanded view of the potentials of what things are. And we also start to see how limiting words actually are when we're trying to define. And that is the human condition, is trying to put a name on or trying to identify with something in order to understand it. And we're kind of transcending out and away from that as more of just understanding through feeling, more of a vibrational understanding, a sentient understanding instead of a linear kind of, calculating understanding. So with that, for me personally, a grid worker is an individual who connects their energy to different points of the earth. And it could be, parts of the earth that you're drawn to. You maybe like to go to sacred sites, or you just love this one tree, in the botanic garden in your neighborhood. You may have gone to exotic locations, or you may, be at home and you just love being outside and love being out on the earth, and embracing it and appreciating it. So for me, it's as simple as that a grid worker is someone who kind of goes out into nature and just loves and appreciates the nature. And you do notice when you walk outside and spend time in nature, whether it's manufactured like a park, or you get to go out into more of a wild nature, that whatever nature you have, whether it's a tree, if you're in a very urban environment and you have a tree and there's a beautiful bird, that sings, or you're lucky to be in a more rural or remote area where you have wild nature around, it's the appreciation. It's a heart opening. It's an authentic appreciation and just love of nature, animals, plants, the elementals as they're represented, with like little streams or rivers or creeks, the insects that, watching the butterflies fly around. So for me personally, that is a grid worker. It's a person who is literally walking out on nature's grid, Mother Earth's grid. And you have to know that there are grids upon grids upon grids. There are the organic grids that belong to Gaia herself that you can feel. And what I mean by those would be the more like pristine or awe-inspiring feelings when we're out in nature. And, then there are artificial grids. There are our own personal grids in our body. So on that note, about our own personal biological grids, in our own system, we are an extension of Gaia as a grid. So we are a walking grid, almost like a battery charger or an antenna, if you will. And then we walk around, on her organic grid and activate it or transmit, frequencies that are high, they're loving, they're healing, just by appreciation, So anytime you go out in nature and, you're at the beach and you're just, oh, I just love this ocean sound, or whatever it is, you love the smell of the pines, you get to go out and hike. These are just some of the sensory experiences that I have from being in California here. But any of that appreciation and just authentic love and just, kind of like innocent, heart open like a child, taking it all in of nature, for me is a very, very important part. And it's a huge part, very just natural and easy, of being a grid worker here. Another level of that is, since I was a little girl, I would be called to go to certain places and just share crystals with the earth and just have a little ritual. I'd bring different special crystals, whether like Herkimer diamonds or stuff that I felt was really special. And I'd go to specific places that I really loved, and I would bury the crystal and maybe, at the roots of a tree, kind of hiding it in the soil, or I would throw it into a creek. And sometimes the sentiment there would be appreciation and just, I love you so much, to the tree. Thank you for cleaning the air. Thank you for holding the earth together with your amazing roots. Or going to a body of water, thanking the elementals for pure water, and just kind of putting out that thought form into the collective energy of, how amazing pure water is. So for me, that's another component is, giving gifts to the earth in appreciation, or sometimes, cornmeal, different offerings. Really, it's about kind of literally seeding an intent everywhere you go, whether it's just walking and being, very present in the moment, wherever you are, and being present and appreciative of where you are, or actually giving a gift or setting an intention. So for me, for instance, when I see things that I don't love, that I would like to change, rather than getting upset about it, because it doesn't help, on a quantum energetic level, when we get upset about something, it's okay, it's okay to get upset, but we don't want to dwell in that space, because we're actually energetically feeding the issue as opposed to counterbalancing the issue. So what I like to do on days, for instance, where maybe I might see a ton of chemtrails, is I'll go outside and I'll look at the sky and I'll just think like how much I appreciate a clear blue sky, and how much I appreciate and love the idea of clean, fabulous, beautiful air for everyone on the planet. And I'll do the same thing with the oceans, with streams and rivers, anywhere where there's pollution, because this is how we can help to shift. We're literally on the grid, on the ground, making shifts with our own intentions and our own thought forms. Our thought forms are exceptionally powerful. And, even for the skeptics, I would say one way to kind of start to get an idea of just how powerful you are would be by looking at our whole upbringing and our whole life, and how everything seems to be rooted against us. So why would that be? Why would there be so much adversity if we were nothing, and if nothing mattered, and if there was no power in positivity or the, positive projection? So it's just interesting stuff to chew on. So I hope that, this has answered some questions for you about what a grid worker is. For me personally, ever since I was a little child, I knew that one of the reasons I was here was to literally embody a certain frequency of energy, and like a little Teflon tube, just by being here and walking around and existing on this planet, transmit it to the planet, to the grid, to everyone and everything on the grid. And it's not an egoic thing, it's just, I know that's what I'm supposed to do. So for me, keeping my vibration very pure, heart open, heart-centered living, doing my practice, my spiritual practice every day. I do Kundalini yoga, just helps me to keep clear and serve. How can we serve? So for me, that's a grid worker. So let me know if you have any questions. It's fun, to explore like, oh yeah, I've always loved to go to this one place or camp at this one place, or when I go to this particular area, I get so much emotion. It's just fun to explore. So hopefully that clarified what a grid worker is. So thanks so much for tuning in today. And I'd love to hear from you guys, if you have any practices you want to share as a grid worker. It's beautiful, it's really fun. There are so many different things we can do, whether it's giving gifts or using our imagination, using our emotions to put thought forms of gratitude and love and just joy, and kind of the giggly, tickly energy out there into the collective. Or if you're working with the color spectrum and imagining, like, let's say that that there was a chemical spill in a body of water in your neighborhood, and you go and you imagine golden light, in that water, healing and transmuting the properties of the water and giving thanks. And this is backed by science. The power of our brains is backed by science, because one of my favorite references would be Dr. Emoto, with water. So we know how powerful our emotions and words and the vibration, the frequency that we bring and all that we're doing, the effect that it can have, whether beneficial or destructive. So it's all up to us. So thank you so much. I've been downloading a lot of content to share with you guys. So I'll have some more videos coming. So thank you so much for everything, for all your support, and have a beautiful day. All right, bye.